Yeah.
Okay.
Why do
Jammies. I'm going to pull up. No, we're not turning on the TV. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. That's for morning when we wake up and get ready for school, okay? No TV right now. Okay. Can you start to take your clothes off? We'll change.
I'm scared.
You're scared?
Yeah.
Of what?
Of you.
You're scared of me?
Yeah.
What did I do?
Scared me.
So you're getting under my covers? I guess you don't want a story.
Yeah, I do.
You do. Ow, 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 ow.
Sorry.
Okay. Come here.
You get.
Oh! Oh! I found you. Come here. We gotta change. We just gotta change, and then we'll read 2 stories. You want to do 2 stories?
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're not reading Rapunzel.
What's we think about?
We can read Ariel and Tiana.
Tiana and something.
Come on. Just come on. Like a ball. Good girl. Okay, come here.
I understand.
Yeah, for a little bit.
You can't do
Well,
stuff.
Mommy wants to relax and not have to go to bed right away. I'll go to bed soon. Don't worry.
But I'm the cook. I'm
You're the what?
muffin in the
You're the muffin?
Yeah.
What? What kind of muffin are you? Blueberry or chocolate chip? Oh, you taste like blueberry. Ooh. Okay, come here. We gotta change your shirt.
Oh, it's cool.
I know, that's why we're gonna put this on.
Can I see a pixel?
There's no picture on it, it's just a t-shirt.
Dirty.
Miss your hair. Not your hair, your face.
Ow!
No, hold on. You have something on it. Let me see. Let me see, please.
No. No.
You're so silly. Okay.
Mine.
Yours. Okay, come here.
Mine.
Come on, we gotta put the shirt on. We have to take your hair down, because what's Mommy say about ponytails at bedtime?
No ponytail at bedtime.
That's right. Okay, so we'll take this ponytail out. Whoop. Just like that.
What color is that?
It's what?
What color is that? Wait, so.
It's pink. Okay. Let's do Tiana first. And then we'll do Ariel. Alright. This is The Princess and the Frog, a surprise guest. It was a balmy afternoon in New Orleans, perfect for a night with friends. Charlotte, honey, Big Daddy LaBeouf called to his daughter. How about going to Tiana's palace for supper tonight? Oh, Daddy, that would be wonderful. Just give me a minute to change. A little later, Big Daddy and Charlotte drove off. They didn't realize their dog Stella was asleep in the back of the car. When the LaBeoufs arrived at the restaurant, a jazz band was on stage. Louis the alligator was playing his trumpet. Charlotte, how are you? Princess Tiana said. She was happy to see her best friend. Big Daddy, would you like to sit with my mama and Naveen's parents? Why, I can't think of anyone better to share my supper with.
Doing that.
Huh?
Doing that.
He's waving because he's excited to see them. I can't think of anyone better to share my supper with than Eudora and your in-laws, he replied. Soon, Tiana's family and friends were settled at a big table. The princess walked around the dining room to make sure her other guests were happy too. Meanwhile, Stella had woken up. The dog climbed out of the LaBeouf's car and looked around. Immediately, she caught the mouth-watering scent of Tiana's beignets. Stella followed her nose right into the restaurant kitchen. "Looky here," shouted one of the cooks. "We have a visitor. Here you go, puppy. Have some of this gumbo. It's a new recipe." Stella eagerly tasted the dish. It was delicious. A moment later, a waiter threw her a large bone. The dog couldn't believe her good luck. Stella spent the whole evening in the kitchen. While Charlotte and Big Daddy dined to Louie's jazz
I
music,
like all those.
you do? And talked with her friends, Stella was getting all kinds of treats. Late that
Why
night,
is he sleeping?
he's sleeping because he's like your age. He's a little boy and he fell asleep. Late that night, after the last jazz number had been played, all of the guests went home. Charlotte and Big Daddy never realized that Stella was also at the restaurant. Ta-ta! Charlotte called as they left. Eudora left with Naveen's parents. Turning to her daughter, she said, I have never heard the band play quite that well, and that new gumbo, absolutely delicious. I'll see you tomorrow, sweetheart. After Princess Tiana walked her family to the door, she went back to the dining room to finish cleaning up. A few minutes later, Louis and the band went to the kitchen for their evening meal. As they walked in, Stella began to bark. Grrr! Woof! She was terrified of the giant alligator. Oh, now hold on, little dog, Louis spoke to Stella. I'm not here to eat you. I just wanted a taste of the chef's new gumbo. But Stella was still frightened. She kept barking. The kitchen staff and the band members looked at each other. They weren't sure what to do. In the dining room, Tiana and Naveen heard the barking. They rushed to see what was causing the commotion. Tiana recognized the LaBeouf's pet at once. Stella, what are you doing here? She asked. Don't worry, Louis is our friend. He wouldn't hurt anybody. That's true, Naveen cried, putting his arm around Louis. He's nothing but a big guy with an even bigger heart. The alligator peeked out from behind his tail. He didn't understand why the dog was so upset. Stella looked at him suspiciously. Go ahead, Princess Tiana encouraged the dog. Just go over and make friends. Cautiously, Stella walked towards Louis. The alligator stayed very still. He didn't want to frighten the dog all over again. See, nothing to be scared about, Naveen said. Soon Stella realized Louis was harmless. The dog wagged her tail. Then she smelled some delicious chicken. Tiana smiled. Let's get dinner for you all. The princess and the kitchen staff quickly put together a supper out of that evening's leftovers. Everyone went into the dining room. The staff ate while Prince Naveen played the ukulele. Louis picked up his trumpet and joined in the song. Some of the waiters and waitresses began to dance. Stella didn't pay much attention, though. She was eating some of Tiana's beignets. A little while later, the staff headed home. Tomorrow will be another busy day at Tiana's palace. Come along, Stella, Tiana told the dog. Time for you to go, too. The prince and princess brought Stella to Charlotte's house. No one had noticed she was missing yet. Good night, Stella, Princess Tiana said, giving the dog a big hug. Now that you know how much fun we have at the restaurant, you should come by more often. Woof, woof, Stella barked. She hadn't expected to have such an adventure that night. She knew she'd return to Tiana's palace the next chance she got. The end.
And what do we
I am.
do?
I am. And another one. Ready this one with Sleeping Beauty?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Sleeping Beauty and Buttercup the Brave. Which horse would you like to ride today? The stable groom asked Princess Aurora one morning. Aurora looked around the royal
That's
stable.
not what that's the beauty.
You want me to call her Sleeping Beauty?
Mm-hmm.
Sleeping Beauty looked around the royal stable. There were so many horses. It was always hard to choose. But then a fine palomino caught Sleeping Beauty's eye. He was the most beautiful creature she had ever seen. Aurora rode the former war horse around the palace courtyard. The horse marched as confidently as if he were the king himself. Suddenly the princess had an idea. From now on, I think I'd like to ride the same horse every day, she said. What a wonderful idea, Prince Philip agreed. You should have a horse of your own. What's this horse's name? Sleeping Beauty asked. We call him Brutus, Your Highness, the groom replied. Oh no, Aurora exclaimed. That won't do at all. I think I'll call him Buttercup. Philip and the groom looked surprised. Are you sure? The prince asked. Sleeping Beauty smiled. Do you like your new name, Buttercup? The horse snorted happily. Sleeping Beauty...
I have a horse.
You do? Your horsey looks like that, huh?
I could call him Buttercup.
You want to call him Buttercup?
Yeah.
Okay. Sleeping Beauty rode Buttercup around the castle grounds. When the pages blew their trumpets as they rode by, he didn't flinch. When a carriage rumbled past, he stood at attention. When Sleeping Beauty asked him to jump over a stone wall, he cleared it effortlessly. The next day, Sleeping Beauty decided to ride Buttercup out to the fairy's cottage. Why don't you let me saddle up Samson and come...
That could be that could be a warrior.
You want that to be Aurora? Okay. Don't be silly, Aurora said with a laugh. I grew up in those woods, remember? Besides, I'll be with Buttercup. He'll take care of me. Aurora and Buttercup pranced off. But the moment they entered the woods, Buttercup became a different horse. He began to walk slowly and look around nervously. When some of Aurora's woodland friends appeared, Buttercup tried to run away. What's the matter, Buttercup? Aurora asked. Why, there's nothing to be frightened of. She could hardly believe the change in her horse. He was even afraid to step over a branch. When she asked him to walk through a forest stream, he nearly fainted. By the time she reached the cottage, Aurora was feeling a bit frustrated. How could a horse who was so brave at the palace be so timid in the woods? Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather hurried out of their cottage. Oh, what a beautiful pony, Merryweather exclaimed. Aurora sighed. He is beautiful, she said, but he seems to be afraid of everything in the woods. I'm sure it'll be all right, Flora said. You just need to be patient with him. That's all. Yes, dear, be patient, Merryweather agreed. He's blue. But hold on, we'll find out. But she sounded distracted. She moved closer to the horse. What a nice coat he has. And such shiny hooves, Fauna added. Though he might look even nicer if his hooves were another color, Merryweather mused. Zap! She aimed her wand. Just like that, Buttercup's hooves turned blue. Oh, don't be silly, Flora exclaimed. A horse shouldn't have blue hooves. On the other hand, he might look pretty in pink. Zap! Buttercup's hooves returned to their normal color, but the rest of him turned pink. Quit that, Merryweather cried. Blue! Pink! Flora argued back. Zap, zap. As the two fairies argued, the horse changed from one color to the next. Aurora watched her new horse change color. It didn't seem to bother him at all, but when a stray leaf fluttered down, he jumped and snorted as if it were a horse-eating dragon. What was she going to do? She didn't want to give up on him. Buttercup was so perfect in every other way. Soon it was time to say goodbye to the fairies. Aurora did her best to ignore the way Buttercup hesitated at every shadow on the trail home. She had been certain that Buttercup was the perfect horse for her. Now she wasn't so sure. Suddenly, Buttercup stopped abruptly. What is it this time? Aurora asked. Then she looked at the trail and gasped in horror. An enormous mountain lion was blocking their path. Aurora's heart pounded as she watched the creature creep closer. If Buttercup could be scared by a bunny rabbit, he was certain to go crazy over a mountain lion. They were in big trouble. To Aurora's surprise, Buttercup didn't panic or try to run. Instead, he stood proudly and puffed himself up to look even bigger than he was. He planted his hooves and snorted angrily at the mountain lion. Then he marched forward and struck out at the lion with his front hooves. Aurora hung on, but she was still scared. But it seemed that Buttercup wasn't. Buttercup's lack of fear made Aurora feel braver. She reached out and grabbed a sturdy tree branch. Leave us alone, she yelled at the mountain lion, waving the branch. Or else. Buttercup pawed at the ground and added a fierce snort to back up Aurora's words. When the mountain lion didn't budge, Buttercup leaped forward and pinned its tail to the ground with one hoof. Then Aurora reached out and gave the lion a smart tap on the nose with her branch. The lion let out an embarrassed yowl. Then it yanked its tail free and raced away. Aurora was pleased with herself and with her horse. Buttercup had been brave when it really counted. Come on, Buttercup, she said, giving him a pat. Let's go home. Buttercup snorted again, proudly, and pranced off. As Aurora and Buttercup neared the castle, a butterfly fluttered past. Buttercup's eyes went wide, and he jumped in terror. Aurora stroked Buttercup's neck and talked to him in a soft voice, reminding him to stay calm. The butterfly fluttered closer and closer, and finally landed right on his nose, which was only trembling a little bit. Good boy, she praised him. You know, Buttercup, I think we make a perfect team. The end. You can read, but not to me. Mommy's going to put your yaya in your water, okay?
Okay.
And your blankie.
This.
You want that? Okay.
I want my little but baby.